The snow fell like tiny silver stars, blanketing the empty trade lane in silence. Every step left a small mark that disappeared almost as quickly as it formed. Somewhere in the cold, something small struggled against the wind, dragging itself over frozen metal scraps and broken crates. Its wings were bent and frosted, its body shivering with every gust. The little dragon had been running for days, alone and afraid, and now its strength was almost gone. A warm light flickered in the distance. The dragon stopped and tilted its head, sensing something different. Humans often carried light, but it was not just light. It was warmth, a steady pulse in the cold world. Instinct told the dragon to stay hidden, to not trust anyone, but the cold had worn away its caution. Slowly, it crept forward, claws clicking softly on the metal scraps. The source of the warmth was a small garage, tucked at the edge of the lane, the kind of place humans used to fix their ships and engines. The door was slightly open, just enough for someone, or something, to slip inside. The dragon hesitated, its tiny chest rising and falling in shivers. Every instinct screamed danger. Dragons were not supposed to enter human spaces. Humans were strong, unpredictable, and often cruel to creatures like it. Yet the snow had bitten too deep, and the cold had become unbearable. With a trembling wing, it crawled into the gap. Inside, the garage smelled of oil, metal, and old firewood. Tools hung from the walls, and workbenches were covered in spare parts and blueprints. The dragon collapsed behind a stack of engine crates, curling itself into as small a shape as possible. It was trembling not just from cold but from fear. Its large eyes blinked at the human who had paused, his wrench frozen midair as he noticed the movement. The human was tall, with dark hair falling slightly into his eyes, and he looked tired. He did not raise his voice. He did not reach for a scanner or a weapon. He only knelt slowly, one hand resting on the floor near the dragon without making a sudden move. His voice was soft, almost a whisper, but steady. "Hey, it's okay. You're safe now." The dragon's heart pounded. Humans rarely spoke like that. Most humans screamed, ran, or attacked. The words were strange and warm, but the tone was stranger still. Not a sound of fear or hunger, but calm and promise. It did not fully understand, but a small part of it let go of its fear, just a little. The dragon inched forward, its claws slipping on the cold concrete, until it was close enough to see the human's eyes. They were open and steady, not filled with hunger or curiosity, just a simple, quiet kindness. The human reached into a drawer and pulled out a soft blanket. He did not force it over the dragon. He only laid it nearby. "You can stay there," he whispered. "I'll get some heat going." He moved to a corner of the garage where old heaters and coils were stored. Sparks lit the air, and soon a small wave of warmth spread across the garage floor. The dragon shifted closer, curling itself under the edge of the blanket, feeling something it had not felt in a long time: comfort. Outside, patrol drones hovered silently, scanning the trade lanes for missing creatures. Dragons were not supposed to be alone. They were property, symbols of power, or military assets. Any dragon found without a master would be taken immediately. The little dragon, weak and trembling, knew that if it left, it would be caught. But inside the garage, it felt a strange security it had never known. The human returned with a small bowl of water and a few scraps of dried food. He placed them gently near the dragon, not forcing it to eat, only offering. The dragon watched him carefully, instincts still on edge, but hunger and cold were stronger than fear. Slowly, it nibbled at the food, tasting warmth and safety in every bite. The human sat nearby, watching but not crowding, allowing the dragon to decide when to trust. Hours passed, and the storm outside grew fiercer. Snow piled against the garage door, and the wind howled through the small gaps. The dragon's body relaxed just a little under the heat, its shivering slowing. It did not understand why the human helped it, why he did not try to capture it or call for soldiers. It only knew the warmth was real and steady, unlike anything it had experienced in its short life. The human hummed quietly, a soft tune with no words, letting the dragon hear something gentle. It blinked at him, curiosity flickering in its small eyes. For the first time, it allowed itself to believe that perhaps it was not entirely alone in the galaxy. Perhaps someone could see it as more than just a weapon or a tool. At one point, the dragon dared to move closer, brushing its icy wing against the human's leg. He did not flinch. Instead he whispered, "That's okay. I won't hurt you." And he reached out a hand, letting the dragon touch it with its tiny claw. The contact was electric, a connection neither of them could explain, but both felt it. It was trust, simple and unspoken, forming like fragile ice over a pond. Outside, the drones moved on. The galaxy would look for the dragon tomorrow. But inside the garage, time seemed to pause. The dragon, still small, still fragile, closed its eyes for the first time in days. And the human whispered again, almost to himself, "You're safe now." The cold little dragon, shivering and weak, had found something stronger than fear. Not a master, not a cage, not a weapon, but a quiet place where warmth was given freely, and trust was offered without demand. And for the first time, it dreamed of a future where humans might not be the enemy but something else entirely, something worth believing in. Outside, the storm raged. Inside, a small dragon curled under a blanket, and a human watched over it, neither speaking louder than necessary. The world was dangerous, yes, but in this small garage, warmth and safety existed. And sometimes that was enough to start a new story. The little dragon slept fitfully, curled under the thin blanket. Its body ached from cold, hunger, and fear. The human stayed close, watching quietly, making sure the warmth did not fade. When the dragon stirred, he whispered, "Take your time. No rush." In the morning, the garage smelled of heated metal and old oil. Sunlight barely reached inside, but the heaters gave a soft, steady glow. The dragon opened its eyes and blinked at the human. Its wings were stiff and cracked, and a small cut ran along its side. It tried to pull back, expecting pain, but the human only smiled gently and said, "I'll fix this. It won't hurt." The dragon froze, unsure what fix meant. Humans often caused more pain than help. They restrained, poked, or demanded obedience. But this human did something different. He did not reach for chains. He did not lift the dragon roughly. Instead, he worked slowly, wrapping a soft cloth around the injured wing and cleaning the wound with a warm solution. His hands were careful, steady, and patient. The dragon watched every movement, heart pounding. Trust was fragile. But the human's voice was calm and steady, each word like a small promise. "Almost done, just a little longer, good." The dragon's sharp eyes softened. It did not fully understand the human, but it felt safety. After cleaning the wing, the human fetched a small set of tools from the workbench. He had tiny clamps, soft wires, and a sticky paste that smelled faintly like minerals. He whispered, "I'm going to help the wing heal so you can fly again." The dragon flinched slightly but did not move away. It was still unsure, but the warmth from his hands and voice kept it still. Hours passed. The human worked carefully, checking the wing and adjusting the tiny supports. The dragon tried to stay still, curling closer to the heat. Sometimes it hissed softly, not in anger but in fear. Each time the human stopped and whispered, "I know. I'm being gentle." He let the dragon rest, then returned to his work. No human before had treated it this way. Most saw dragons as tools, weapons, or threats. This one only saw something hurt that needed help. After the wing was stabilized, the human fetched more food. He did not push it into the dragon's mouth. Instead, he set the bowl nearby and stepped back. The dragon sniffed the food cautiously, then nibbled slowly. Each bite warmed its body and soothed its nerves. The human hummed quietly, a low tune filling the silence of the garage. Time moved differently inside the garage. Outside, the galaxy spun on. Trade routes, patrol drones, and imperial scanners searched for missing assets. Dragons were not supposed to roam free. They were dangerous, powerful, and rare. One dragon alone was worth a fortune or a military response. Yet inside this small garage, none of that mattered. Here, the little dragon began to understand that humans could do something unexpected. They could help without asking for reward, without threat, without chains. The dragon experimented. It lifted its wings slightly, letting the human inspect it. He nodded, adjusting a small support, and whispered, "Perfect. You're getting stronger already." For the first time, the dragon felt its own body healing, not just its wing but its trust and hope as well. The human moved to another corner and returned with a small mirror. "I want you to see yourself," he said softly. The dragon hissed at the reflection and used to seeing its face. Its scales were frosted and dull, but its eyes reflected curiosity and intelligence. The human smiled, crouching beside it. "You're still small, yes, but strong. And you'll fly again." The dragon's heart fluttered. No human had ever spoken to it with respect. They always demanded fear, obedience, or tribute. This one offered words like sunlight, gentle, quiet, and real. Night came again, and the dragon curled under the blanket, warmer than before. The human stayed near, repairing small parts of his garage, but glancing often at the dragon. Occasionally, the little creature leaned toward him, letting its head brush his hand. It did not understand why humans were capable of kindness, but it felt it. Something in the warmth of the garage told it that not all humans were the same. Some could heal, protect, and listen. A sudden noise outside made the dragon tense. Patrol drones hovered near the street, scanning for missing dragons. Its heart raced, wings twitching. The human noticed immediately. "Stay here," he whispered, stepping to the doorway. Outside, he waved something small in his hand, a signal that confused the drones. They paused, scanned, then moved on. He returned and sat beside the dragon. "See? You don't have to be afraid right now." The dragon's wings twitched again, this time in curiosity. It began exploring the garage slowly, stepping over tools and parts, still cautious but less fearful. The human encouraged it with soft words, showing it where it could rest, where it could drink, and where it could find warmth. Every movement, every small step, reinforced a strange new lesson. Humans could care without taking, without forcing, without demanding. The little dragon realized it could trust him. Not fully, not yet, but a little. Enough to let the human touch its wing again, adjust the brace, and brush away snow from its scales. Every gentle action was a promise, and the dragon felt something grow inside it: hope. By the end of the day, the dragon curled near the heater, small but no longer shivering. It watched the human quietly, observing him with new eyes. Humans were not all fear and fire. Some could be quiet, patient, and gentle. Some could fix things that were broken without asking for anything in return. And maybe, just maybe, some humans could be friends. Outside, the night deepened. The galaxy continued its search, unaware that a small dragon had found safety in the hum of a quiet garage. Inside, warmth and quiet ruled. The little dragon closed its eyes, its wings supported, its stomach fed, and its heart lightened. Trust was fragile, but it was growing. And in the hands of this human, the dragon discovered something new. Safety was possible, and maybe for the first time in its life the world could be kind. The little dragon had grown a little stronger, its wings supported and its body warmer. It spent most of the day exploring the small garage, stepping over tools and parts, testing its legs and claws. It was curious about everything: the smell of oil, the way the human moved, the small heater humming in the corner. But outside, danger was approaching. The galaxy had noticed. A missing dragon could not go unseen. Patrol drones scanned the trade lanes, Imperial ships checked signals, and notices flashed across every communication network. Dragons were valuable, rare, and powerful. No one expected one to wander alone, and certainly not to disappear in the shadow of a human settlement. The human worked quietly, repairing an old engine near the back wall. He hummed softly, but he was aware. He had checked the security systems, the cameras, and the scanners. Every warning light made him tighten his jaw. Yet he did not panic. He knew the little dragon could not survive the cold outside, and he would not let it be taken without a fight, or without a choice. The dragon watched the human carefully. It could sense tension in his movements, hear it in the soft clicks of his tools. Something in the air was different. Outside, the wind had changed. The snow now carried the faint hum of engines and sensors. The dragon's small heart beat faster. It wanted to run, but its body was not yet ready. Suddenly, the garage door slid open with a mechanical hiss. A drone hovered just outside, scanning the interior. Its lights swept across the room, landing on the dragon curled under the blanket. The dragon hissed softly, instinct telling it to strike or flee. The human stepped forward calmly. He raised one hand, showing nothing but open palm. "Stay still," he whispered. "I've got this." The drone's sensors focused on the dragon. It beeped, recording the data and transmitting it to nearby ships. Commands were coming through. The dragon could hear the faint vibrations of orders: capture, secure, return. It flinched. Humans often obeyed orders, but this human did not move toward the drone with fear. He stood steady, his eyes locked on the machine. "You don't understand," the human said softly. "It's not a weapon right now. It's not yours to take." The drone paused. It was not programmed to argue, but something in its sensors, behavior, warmth, the dragon's calm pulse, confused it. It hovered, lights blinking. The human stepped closer to the dragon, shielding it. He did not touch it aggressively, only let the little dragon feel the safety of his presence. From outside, more ships began to descend. Communications crackled. "Asset located. Prepare recovery." Commands came from high above, the galaxy's authority asserting itself. But the human remained still. He did not back down. He only whispered to the dragon, "It's okay. You can trust me. I won't let them hurt you." The dragon felt something shift. It had learned over days that humans could be gentle, but it had never faced so many at once. Its claws dug into the blanket. Its wings twitched nervously. Fear pressed against every instinct. But then it looked at the human, calm, unshaken, and it realized something it had never understood. He would not give up. Not for orders. Not for fear. Not for reward. The ships sent down more drones, scanning, analyzing, and preparing to seize the dragon. The human crouched, speaking softly. I know you're scared. I know you want to hide. But you're safe with me. Trust me. The dragon blinked, then slowly, carefully moved closer. It allowed itself to feel the warmth of the human's hands on its wing again. A sudden alarm rang from one of the drones. Commands were coming faster. Prepare for extraction. All units engage. The little dragon stiffened. It knew it could not fly yet. It could not escape. But it did not panic. It stayed close to the human, letting him be its shield. The human raised a small device. Lights flashed and a signal disrupted the drone's programming. They paused, hovered, and finally backed away slightly, confused. The human whispered, "See? We can do this. Together." The dragon pressed against his leg, not fully understanding the device, but understanding the protection it offered. The human then stepped toward the largest drone. He did not strike it. He did not destroy it. He simply held up his hands and projected calm, his tone steady and unthreatening. Slowly, the drone tilted and backed away, scanning the sky. One by one, other drones followed. Their orders conflicted with what their sensors were telling them. A dragon was supposed to be a weapon, but this one, it was safe. And the human, he was not an enemy. The little dragon's eyes widened. The galaxy had come for it. Many powerful beings would have taken it without question. But here in this small garage, a human had stopped them all. Not with fire, not with weapons, but with patience, calm, and an unshakable promise of protection. Hours passed. The patrols retreated, the drones returned to orbit, and the galaxy realized it could not force the dragon. Not here. Not now. Not while the human remained steadfast. The little dragon curled under the blanket, its body trembling less than before. Fear was still there, but it was no longer the only feeling. The human sat beside it, speaking softly, "They won't come back tonight. You're safe. I'll make sure of it." The dragon's head nudged his hand, small but deliberate. It was not just trust. It was a choice. It chose to stay, to rely, to believe. Outside, the stars continued to turn. The galaxy was vast, powerful, and indifferent, yet inside the garage, small things mattered: warmth, quiet, and kindness. The little dragon realized that humans could be something different. They could protect without chains, fight without anger, and choose kindness over obedience. As night fell, the dragon stretched its wings slightly, testing the brace the human had made. They held firm. The dragon's heart swelled with a new understanding. Strength was not just in fire or flight. Sometimes strength was in patience, courage, and a quiet refusal to let fear win. The human whispered one last time that night, "You're safe here. You can sleep now." The little dragon closed its eyes, letting the warmth seep through its scales. Outside, the galaxy watched and waited, but inside, the dragon discovered something no patrol or command could give: freedom through trust. Tomorrow more challenges would come. The galaxy would not forget. But tonight, in the small garage at the edge of the trade lane, the little dragon slept without fear. It had learned something profound. Even in a universe that demanded control, some humans could stand apart, offering protection without asking and love without chains. And for the first time, the little dragon dreamed not of escape, but of a future where humans and dragons could be allies, friends, and perhaps more. The morning air was sharp, cold against the edges of the garage door. Outside, the galaxy's patrols had returned, their scanners sweeping the streets and trade lanes. Inside, the little dragon shifted under the blanket, now stronger, its wings supported and muscles slowly regaining strength. It had learned that humans could be kind, but it still did not fully understand their ways. The human moved quietly, preparing parts and tools. His eyes scanned the small garage, alert, calm. He had spent nights thinking about the patrols, the orders, and the galaxy's expectations. Dragons were not supposed to be free. Humans were not supposed to interfere. Yet here he was, standing against the rules, standing for something he believed in. A loud hum came from outside. Patrol drones hovered, this time larger and more numerous. Their lights swept across the garage windows, searching for the dragon. Commands crackled in the air: "Seize the asset. No compromise. Return to the capital." The little dragon's ears twitched. Fear rose again. It wanted to hide under the blanket, to curl into the smallest shape possible. The human knelt beside it. "Listen," he whispered. "I have a plan. They won't take you. Not if I can help it. But I need you to trust me." The dragon blinked. Trust had grown slowly like fragile ice. Now it faced its first real test. The patrols were stronger. They were closer. Escape was impossible. The human stood and stepped to the center of the garage. He pulled a small device from his pocket, a signal jammer, simple but effective. "They follow orders," he said, "but orders can change if they hear something different. We can make them see you're not a weapon. You're something more." The dragon tilted its head, listening, uncertain but intrigued. The drones outside paused, scanning, lights flickering. The human activated the device. A soft pulse went out, scrambling the signals that told the patrols they had authority. The machines hesitated, unsure of what to do. He whispered again, "You see? Rules are only rules if everyone follows them blindly. But we can show them another choice." The little dragon shifted closer, pressing against the human's leg. Its wings twitched. It wanted to speak, to act, but it did not know how. The human knelt and whispered to it, "You can choose. You don't have to fight. You don't have to flee. You can just be." The dragon blinked, feeling the words as a thought in its mind rather than sounds. It had learned that humans could communicate in strange ways. It realized it could make a choice. The patrol drones began moving closer again, their sensors confused but still cautious. A command came through their system, "Confirm capture." The human raised his hand, not in aggression but in calm authority. His eyes met the dragon's and he whispered, "This is your choice. Show them." The dragon inhaled, steadying itself. Its wings stretched slightly, muscles tightening and testing the air. Then, with a deep, quiet hum, it projected something new, a signal not of fear or attack but of trust and calm. The human had taught it without asking, healed it without force, offered warmth without expectation. The little dragon now returned that gift to the galaxy in its own way. The drones paused. Their systems tried to read the signal, but the intent was unfamiliar. The dragon's presence was not a weapon. The human's presence was not a threat. The air changed. A quiet understanding passed through the patrol systems, something beyond orders, beyond control. Then the unexpected happened. The largest drone hovered, lights blinking, systems whirring. It slowly tilted, pulling back from the garage. The smaller drones followed. The patrol commander's voice crackled in static, confused. "Report, anomaly, asset, not hostile, confirm." No one had expected this. A dragon had chosen not to flee, not to fight, not to obey but to trust. And a human had stood calmly beside it, refusing to surrender. The little dragon pressed against the human's side, wings stretching carefully, claws tapping softly. It had made a choice. It could leave, could fly away. But it did not. It chose the human. The galaxy had expected fear, battle, or capture. Instead it got something new. The human smiled softly, brushing a hand over the dragon's head. "You see," he whispered. "They expected fear. But you chose something stronger. Calm, trust, courage. That's more than fighting." The dragon blinked, understanding not fully in words but in feeling. Its heart, once frozen by cold and fear, now beat with warmth and certainty. The patrols hesitated further, unsure how to proceed. Orders from above conflicted with what sensors were telling them. This was not a weapon. This was not a threat. This was a choice no one had expected. Slowly, systematically, the patrols withdrew. The drones returned to orbit, but they did not touch the garage. The galaxy had learned a lesson without violence. Choice could be more powerful than orders. The human knelt beside the little dragon again, whispering, "You're safe. You chose wisely." The dragon pressed its snout against his hand, a quiet acknowledgement of trust and gratitude. It had been weak, cold, and afraid. Now it was strong enough to choose, and it had chosen something new, a bond that even the galaxy could not break. Hours passed, and the sun set over the trade lane. The garage glowed warmly from the heaters and lamps. The dragon explored its small home again, testing its wings, tasting freedom without danger. The human repaired tools and engines, occasionally humming softly. The world outside was still dangerous, still watching, but inside this garage, a quiet victory had been won. The little dragon curled under the blanket, no longer trembling. It had learned that strength was not only in fire or claws, but in trust, courage, and quiet choices. The human whispered again, almost to himself, "You're safe. And you're free to choose." The dragon's eyes closed, a slow blink of understanding. Freedom did not mean fleeing. It meant being allowed to decide. And for the first time it felt truly safe. Outside, the galaxy would continue to spin. Patrols would still exist. Orders would still be given. But tonight, in this small garage at the edge of the trade lane, the little dragon had shown that choices could be more powerful than rules, and courage could take forms no one expected. The human sat quietly, brushing his fingers over the dragon's scales. "Rest now," he whispered. "Tomorrow is another day. But tonight you made the choice no one else could understand. And that's enough." The little dragon snuggled close, wings folding carefully, body warm, heart light. And in the quiet hum of the garage, warmth and trust ruled, stronger than the galaxy itself. The days passed slowly in the small garage. Outside, the galaxy continued its busy rotations, distant patrols gliding through the stars, unaware of the quiet little victory on this forgotten trade lane. The little dragon had grown stronger. Its wings stretched further, scales gleamed faintly in the light of the heaters, and its eyes reflected a curiosity it had never felt before. The human moved around the garage with calm purpose. He repaired engines, polished tools, and occasionally hummed the same quiet tune he had started with when the dragon first arrived. It was not just a melody, it was a signal of safety. Each note reminded the dragon that warmth could exist in the galaxy, even when everything else demanded fear and obedience. The little dragon tested its wings carefully, letting the human watch. He encouraged it without rushing, his voice soft. "Good. That's perfect. One day soon you'll fly far, but right now here is enough." The dragon pressed closer to him, sensing that the warmth of this small garage was not just from heaters or blankets. It came from this human, steady and calm. Other humans came occasionally, unaware of the dragon's presence at first. They carried supplies, sometimes asked questions, sometimes laughed at the strange sight of a small dragon in a workshop. The dragon did not hiss or flee. It only observed, trusting the human beside it. He explained gently, without fear, that the dragon was not a pet, not a weapon, but a being choosing to stay. Each explanation was careful, measured, and respectful. The little dragon began to understand that humans could create rules not to control, but to protect. Outside, the galaxy noticed changes. Patrol logs showed anomalies. Orders were questioned. "Asset recovered?" one commander asked. Reports returned confusion. The dragon was not captured. The patrols could not force it. Humans had stood firm and allowed choice. No one had expected it. Across the galaxy, whispers spread about a small garage, a human, and a dragon who had chosen safety over fear. Inside, the little dragon stretched, flapping its wings gently for the first time. The human clapped softly, smiling. "See? You're ready to fly whenever you want. But you don't have to leave yet." The dragon looked at him, understanding. Freedom was not about leaving, it was about deciding. And for the first time, the little dragon felt the universe could be something more than danger, more than cold patrols, more than orders. It could be warmth, patience, and choice. One evening, a soft red light flashed from the communication panel. The human answered. A patrol commander's voice came through, cautious, respectful. "We've studied the logs." The dragon, it was not hostile. The human, he acted wisely. They both chose safety. "Recommend no further action." The human smiled at the dragon. "See? Even the galaxy can learn." The dragon nudged his hand gently. His trust had grown. Its wings were strong, but it did not leap for flight. Instead, it stayed close, pressing against him. It understood something humans had taught it. Strength was not always in fire or claws. Sometimes strength was in patience, courage, and care. Days turned into weeks. The garage became a quiet sanctuary. Small repairs, shared meals, and gentle touches filled the hours. The dragon learned to trust completely, exploring corners of the workshop it had never dared before. The human taught it to recognize warmth, not just as heat, but as comfort, friendship, and choice. One morning, a soft wind carried news. Traders and travelers whispered of the dragon and the human, of the garage that defied the galaxy's rules. Some came to see it for themselves, expecting danger, expecting orders. Instead, they found calm. They found a dragon resting near a heater, wings relaxed, eyes bright, and a human nearby, watching quietly but confidently. The galaxy began to understand a truth no one had written in manuals or orders. Trust could be stronger than chains, kindness stronger than fear. The little dragon pressed closer to the human that evening. Its wings, once broken and cold, now stretched comfortably, brushing lightly against the warm floor. It did not need to speak. The human whispered softly, "You've done well. You've shown them something they didn't know. You've taught the stars that warmth matters." The dragon blinked, resting its head on his hand. It felt proud, not of power but of choice, courage, and the quiet bond they shared. Evening fell and snow brushed against the garage windows. Outside, the galaxy continued to spin, massive and indifferent. Ships patrolled the skies, stars moved in patterns older than humans or dragons. But inside the garage, time moved differently. One small dragon and one human had created a space where warmth, patience, and trust could exist. That space mattered. More than any patrol, more than any command, more than the galaxy could measure. The little dragon stretched one last time for the day, wings strong and steady. It had learned many things. Humans could be more than expected, danger could be faced without violence, and warmth could protect better than fear. Most importantly, it had learned that choice was real and safety could be offered without chains. The human whispered again, softly, almost a promise, "You're safe now. And you always will be." The dragon's eyes slowly closed. It had survived storms, cold, fear, and doubt. Now it slept, calm, warm, and free, not because the galaxy allowed it, but because a human had chosen to stand for kindness, patience, and courage. Outside, the stars glimmered, distant and eternal. The galaxy continued its busy rotations, but one quiet corner had changed forever. A dragon had learned trust. A human had shown courage. And in the small garage at the edge of a trade lane, warmth had won over fear. The little dragon dreamed, not of fleeing but of skies full of light, and a world where humans and dragons could choose each other freely. And the human watched, calm and steady, knowing that sometimes the smallest acts, an open door, a whispered promise, a hand held steady, could teach the galaxy something the stars themselves would remember. And in that quiet, glowing garage, one truth became clear. Sometimes the warmth of a single human heart could shine brighter than all the stars.